Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Walk, Talk, and Rock video. Zion here, and today, obviously, we're going to be talking about, just a little controversy on the gaming industry and how everything is becoming digital, which is, in my opinion, what can you say, right? I think it is a natural move, um, but we'll just talk about one of the main points that has really plagued the industry in terms of ownership, because that's the main deal. So I'll be playing, my favorite game right here, Fantasy Star. But the sections that we'll be talking today is going to be the first part is like the great parts about physical copies and owning something that you have rights to, I guess, and being able to like share and display it as a collection. So first section I'm going to talk about like the PS2 era, when the times were great, we had like Blockbuster and everything. And I'm just going to talk about how having a physical copy of something was great. Just the PS2 era, basically, when we still had also like the Nintendo DS or maybe the Game Boy Advance. That part of gaming was amazing from 2000 to probably like 2000. I'd say 2013 was great. And then the the second section will be like, how much does it even cost to make physical copies of a video game? Especially with the rising output of assets, a lot of games are, well, only AAA games are up into the like 80 gigabytes plus. And then maybe in a further section, I'll talk about solutions to combating all these rising storage costs, because there's a really smart solution for this, and I don't think any company is working on it. They probably are, and I'll discuss that. So if you're looking to save money, billion-dollar companies, check it out right here. And the third section is, the digital shift, less stuff, more control, anti-consumer stuff. Basically, no one wants you to be yourself. They want to own your mind. They want to own your attention. They want to own your time. They want to own your soul. Yeah, but what's the point, really? Section 4, or like, if the price of digital is not going to be owning anything, why is it going to be expensive? Why am I justifying this price when they can just take it away? So I'll propose a different model, kind of like we have like the Xbox Pass, and then it's basically just you're just renting at this point, right? So why pay full price for something if you don't actually own it? And then the last section will just be my personal thoughts and opinions and about Sony in general, just about the industry in general, and what Sony should do next in order to stay afloat, or they can bust, or they're just gonna get bailed out by taxpayer money, whatever. These trust fund kids can't survive a day on the streets without getting served. Crazy shit. All right, let's get started. So it was already announced that in 2028, Sony is going to phase out physical copies of all video games, which everybody already is aware of that, and the timing for the release of Grand Theft Auto 6 and Rockstar couldn't have hit the nail on the head at the same time if they tried, right? Which is crazy because they're selling a digital copy, basically DLC, for $100. So on the first day, their sales already exceeded, I believe, 30 million. If I did the math correctly, let's just assume everybody bought the Ultimate Edition, because if you're gonna spend $70, you might as well spend 100. I guess that's the reasoning, business tactic, which is true. So they already walked out with like $3 billion. Whoa, that's crazy, isn't it? Uh, who knows if that's even gonna get taxed? You know. So why is that though? Like, why are we doing that? Maybe because there's some overhead, but think about all the strain on the servers of downloading. Imagine this. They already opened up pre-downloads, right? But the game itself is not live. So obviously there's a lot of back-end API check to stabilize their servers and load balancing and whatnot. The network is going to be stabilized, and they probably already have tons of servers out there replicated for people to download and play the game, which is all right, but it feels like a closed system. So let's take it back to the PS2 era and why gaming was better back then and why it has evolved now. So back then, probably you are born, hopefully. Back in the days, we would go to GameStop or EB Games or Sunset Coast or Comic and stuff. I think they used to sell games there. And what else? There was a lot more other stores, electronic stores, and they would just sell like the video games, are correct? So yeah, I would go there. I would buy games, and the best part about those, especially like Walmart too, they have like the discount bin, and you can just walk into the store one day without thinking. This is the great thing. Like back then, the PS2 era was basically the golden era of physical copy games. You would see thousands and thousands of video games in these bins, and they'd be like $5. And obviously, back then, gaming was more like a pastime for, I don't want to say like poor people, but I feel like it is for poor people because rich people would obviously spend most of their money going on like vacations and like F1 racing and all those really expensive experiences. And now they're like taking over the gaming industry, which is supposed to be a cheap and affordable entertainment for poor people. That is just kind of messed up, you know. I really don't like the direction in general of all these adults, businessman adults, whatever. I don't give a shit. They're just like, are they thinking like, are we living in the same universe? Hello? And someone needs to talk to these people and bring them back down to Earth, unless they're actually aliens and they're just controlling Earth, you know. But back then, you go to the store, you get their games, you go home, you pop that CD in, and then you play. And that was it. It was great. And the cool thing about having the physical copies, you know, is they have like a booklet. Sometimes they came with a guide too. Like when, especially when you did a pre-order, they have like some physical things, physical goodies, right? Like I remember back in the day, oh, I don't know how Japan's gonna take this. But one of the most popular things in the culture, and I guess not just Japan, but we're anywhere, some games would have like a collector's edition, correct? And they would come with cards, the booklet, the guide, artwork book. See, that's the thing when I miss too, like artwork book. But really, really popular games out there. Even the niche games had these things, especially a lot of Japanese games. I'm just gonna name a few, like Record of Agris War. I think Fire Emblem had that kind of stuff too. Atelier games. Trying to think, Tales games. They all had this cool idea of like paying like $10 for more than what you can get compared to now. You're paying extra money for like stuff that should already be included in the base game from a developer standpoint. So that's just really like mind-boggling to me, how I'm literally seeing all this corporate greed and all this horrible things with stagflation and the economy in general. But it's obviously a natural process of how civilizations go. You know, they boom and then they bust. That's a natural phenomenon of civilizations. I mean, a lot of people should already understand that. You learn that in school. You learn about how civilizations become great and then they become trash. And then what happens to the regular people of that? It's not like anything happens to the regular people, honestly. You just keep living your life and surviving daily, day to day, and just try not to take things to heart too seriously, you know? Like, they created this whole idea of careers, paying taxes, and all that. But in the end, none of that really matters. But what does matter is your ownership of things and what you can control consuming and your attention. which is why I'm kind of baffled at like the pricing for digital goods when we were offering physical things that you can own, right? You know, they're saying the saying is like if you're buying gold, you better buy the physical, you know, physical asset of gold. If you're just buying paper gold, like in the stock market or whatever, you don't really own gold. Like that shit can just also disappear. Sadly enough. So like it's the same thing with digital games, right? Unless like you download it to your hard drive and they don't use an API to check if you're authorized to even play the game. And if that happens, then why do they charge full price for these video games instead of using the subscription based model, which I will talk about in the other section? So back then, like the physical copies of video games, it gave people a sense of ownership because that's how the product was. And even Sony advertised their games, or like basically all of them. They were like saying like, "Oh yeah, you could buy the game, and then when you're bored or something, you can play with your friends or exchange games with your friends." And this is the one bad thing about having only digital games. There's going to be no more used market. There's going to be no more used market. There's never going to be. There's no market where you'll be like, I'm bored of this game. I'm going to sell it to my friend. Nope. You boarded the game. You're going to keep that game unless they add like family sharing or something like that, right? Which is why I really told you guys and girls that I mean, Sony's gonna do it eventually. They're probably gonna start waking up using their little trust fund nipple baby brains, you know, making the PlayStation Network store compatible with multiple devices, cross-compatible with the computers like Microsoft Windows and Linux. Like it's literally gonna come to that. I don't know what they're waiting for. Who freaking knows? If anything, a lot of corporations just like to waste time on problems that I guess it's fine. I guess. I mean, maybe they're that mentally challenged. Who knows? I don't know. So, anyways, with that being said, as physical copies disappear, obviously Nintendo and every other company. I mean, there's only basically two gaming companies right now. I'm surprised there hasn't been anything like Atari's is gone. We've already seen the boom of gaming in general, and now we're at the point where it's starting to what's that word called combust, if you might will, combust into a more mature form that people can kind of appreciate. But still, the ownership is the real problem here, and that's what's really bothering a lot of people in the gaming space. So which they choose to be able like to own a game when you download it and then it gets taken away. I don't know how they're gonna do with that, but I guess it's not a bad thing. But it's also not a good thing. All right. I really hope there's not gonna be any anti-consumer things. Like if anything, these companies, especially that they deal with the consumer market, they need to be pro-consumer. Like after this, it's just being a bully. You're just being a bully, and then can you imagine being a 40-year-old adult and you're being like this? Damn, I don't know how they look in the mirror and be like, I'm doing the world a favor. Holy shit, man. If the aliens came, or if anybody saw the things that you were doing and the horrible implications and selfish stuff you're doing, I mean, maybe they feel good about it. But holy, I don't feel good about that, and that's why I'm sharing my opinion. So now we're going to move on to a very simple one. Like, how much does it actually cost to produce physical copies of your video game and sell them in a case with a booklet and stuff like that? Well, at a mass production scale, and I'm pretty sure most of this is probably subsidized, and a lot of companies are going to be out of business, especially manufacturing companies and stuff like that that did produce the cases and maybe print out the booklets for these video games themselves. It's just more people are going to lose their jobs. if everything goes digital. So for a CD with a capacity of around 200 gigabytes, you're looking at that. It's really cheap, by the way, at a mass production cost. It costs not more than $2 a disc. $2, okay? And then for the case, where you put the CD in, obviously, it also doesn't cost more than $2. Actually, it's less. It's probably like $1. It's because recycled plastic is cheap. And then for the book paper, it's literally like 50 cents. So for the full physical copy, this is not with the logistics as well, though. See, that's another thing. Guess who's going out of business too? Delivery services. Oh man, trucking services are gonna be affected. All these things that tie into logistics, shipping and handling, all those companies will be affected. So like Sony doesn't need to have contracts with manufacturing companies. Sony doesn't need to have contracts with delivery services. No, they don't need couriers anymore if everything's going to be digital, right? So I don't know if they're saving money, but in a sense, we're also going to be putting some people out of a job. I mean, I don't know how big actually the gaming industry is, but maybe it's probably like 5% of the GDP, like in the entire world, probably maybe. I know, I mean, pretty much a lot of people play video games, so I'm pretty sure it's somewhere around there. I don't think it's that big, but it's relatively big on a scale that could affect a few, maybe few 100,000 people. So we're gonna definitely see more layoffs with that switch from physical to digital in terms of the gaming aspect. So it doesn't really cost that much. And then the real cost though is in the server hosting, and the bandwidth to download the games and storing that, which is probably, I mean, you can get a storage for like 10 terabytes for maybe $10 or something like that. I don't think it's that expensive, but probably that's what Sony's gonna do. They're gonna have their own data centers, or maybe they're gonna lease a data center from Oracle or Amazon or Microsoft, or even what's that other company? Like I forgot the other company. Sorry. So what about Nintendo? So like for Nintendo's case, it would actually be smart to go only digital because their cartridges, they're kind of proprietary. And for them, even back then, where they had the Nintendo 64, those big ass cartridges that you had to blow every time to even run the game, which was really annoying at first, but man, it was a vibe. Blowing the game and putting it into the Nintendo 64, hoping it is gonna pop up with the logo. Those cartridges actually cost around $20 to $30 because I don't know why Nintendo has a proprietary manufacturing process when we already have stuff that is standardized. So everybody should be using the standardized thing because not only is it just less of a hassle. Like guys, come on. Why are we having standardized and proprietary software? I know every tech company does this, but at the end of the day, who's gonna support that shit once you fire everybody? Zero people. Zero people, and all that knowledge is literally pointless because open source is just it's just better because of how available it is to everybody and how people can easily iterate upon something. Because the more people you have iterating on anything in life, the better it will become, right? That's a known fact. And I don't know if business people know this, but that's literally how life works. Okay? Like generation from the first born human being to generation 100 human being progressively gets better because of iteration. And that's in software development as well. That's very true. And the problems we solve day to day. So how can we like replace this instead? They don't want to use the disk. Honestly, disk is the cheapest part. But later on in the other section, I have a solution that's probably going to be beneficial for hardware companies and the gaming companies themselves if they want to survive. I mean, mind you, Sony is a conglomerate, right? So they don't just deal with video games, but Sony's not really doing so hot in my opinion in terms of all their sectors that they've been doing, especially in the terms of electronics. Like the TVs are mid, the cameras, they they obviously like everything is stale now. So technology is maturing and we're at a point where innovation is becoming controlled because they're like, oh my god, technology makes yes. I don't know if these people understand, but technology is all about freedom. So they can just you can do the they can pull the great Alexandra book burning bullshit. I don't know what these people want to do. Honestly, I don't even know what the G7 want to do. I don't even know what the Economic World Forum wants to do. I don't even know what all these people are rich for. Like, why are they rich for? Like, I want $1 trillion, but why? Because $1 trillion is cool? Man, you're basically a 5-year-old, bro. I can't imagine being this old and having experienced life and be like, I want to take out all the ownership. Yeah, like, I don't know. It's just so dumb. Like, did you go to the same Ivy League school? Did you actually go to Harvard, bro? Is this what they actually teach in Harvard? It's a joke. So, physical games actually aren't that costly. But the trend of going digital is just because of all the other logistic factors and how much Sony thinks they'll be saving on money. But it really hurts the consumers and the right for ownership. I mean, no one owns anything already. Because everything is basically everybody owns everything, I guess, if you want to think about it that way. Once I die, someone else is gonna have this computer, I guess. And I just paid for it for my time and labor, basically. Which is the common transaction today. So the price of producing the game is really not that expensive unless you're Nintendo and you just like being crazy. And now this is a really important shift. The next section we're gonna do, obviously the digital shift, right? Just for anything. I mean, I think it really started with Adobe. Let's be real here. Adobe was the pioneer of the subscription-based stuff, I would say. Well, one of the first. I mean, we already had Netflix, which is another thing people were okay with. Because remember when we had Blockbuster and you would rent your movies or videos? And they had like Redbox, Flybox, or whatever. I tried some of those services before. Renting. Like, I might as well just rent, if we're never gonna own anything. And renting is cheaper. Like, you can rent a Ferrari. And you can rent. That's so sad. You can rent an apartment. But then the thing is, it's like, why are these people so greedy? Like, I don't understand, guys. Why are these people so obsessed with having power and control? I feel like we didn't live in the same timeline. I feel like they don't even live in the same world as everybody else, I guess. And it's definitely true to some point. What the hell am I supposed to do here? Oh, I'm supposed to do this. So, since everything is going digital, and basically no one owns anything, we already have stuff like the Xbox Pass and different kinds of bundles for Adobe software, right? Because it's all digital. But the problem with digital is like you have to have an internet connection. And I don't know about you, but the internet infrastructure is still dog shit in many areas of the world. So a lot of third world countries where they have to deal with a shitty ass internet. Philippines, how are they gonna download a 200 gigabyte game? It's not gonna. It's literally gonna take three days or something. And I remember when I had dial up and I was downloading a 5 gigabyte game, it would take me a week, guys, a whole ass week to download that game. It was really bad dial up, and I'm still in poverty and whatever. It has nothing to do with the discussion though. See how bad it is? Like, less people are going to be able to play future games, AAA titles, because their internet sucks and it's too expensive. And like, if people have to choose between paying for really expensive internet, which isn't going to be subsidized at all, but is now becoming an essential need to people living on Earth and in general, living outer space and moving on forward. What's even the point? Because then you're just gonna, the consumer is literally losing on everything. And you don't even own the internet. You just pay for the data to use it, right? And I just feel so upset, man. I am so upset with this direction because it's literally gonna open not just going digital only, just it's literally gonna affect more than one industry. Believe me. Sony is making this turning point, and it's gonna be a really bad one for majority of these corporations. But for like the small corporations, like the indie studios and stuff like that, maybe they'll have something, or maybe not. But eventually, they all get bought out anyway, and then they all get wind down by the billion-dollar people, trillion-dollar companies, right? So players are gonna have to suffer with the resale value. Players are gonna have to not be able to build a nice, beautiful physical collection. You know, some people actually like collecting the discs and having them displayed in a nice case, and they're all in the box and nice. You know, like especially like I like seeing some people's gaming collections. That's dead. So collecting games is pretty much dead. It's all digital, but no one really cares that much about a digital copy of a game, right? And then lending is also dead. You can't really borrow a game and then you have to download it. And then I don't know how they're gonna deal with that. Steam obviously does something like that called family sharing. But it's pretty limited. I think you have to have the account on the same computer as well. And it's also have to be restricted to like one or two. I think it's yeah, 1 to 3 IPs and that's it. So it's already very horrible for people that want to share video games with other people. Like if I'm poor, well, I am poor, but like for all the people that are less than middle class, it's just over, guys. Like gaming is over for your life. Like you just have to start doing trades or going to get a better job and stuff. And that's probably going to be the fate for most people like us. Yeah, pretty sad times to be alive. And anyways, so all that is gone, right? If we go all digital. And then the other part is that the companies control it, right? So like with the cases for like Netflix when they used to show certain shows, different regions, and they would just take it away because you know it doesn't belong in that geographic or something, or who knows. Who knows? There's a lot of intricate things that go about in the internet that we don't have control over. Like we can't even visit sites from other countries without a VPN. And the internet is supposed to be a free and open place. So is everybody just playing their own propaganda game in their within their country? Like how am I supposed to know what's actually going on in China? What's actually going on in the Philippines? What's actually going on in Europe? What's actually going around anywhere? Like why are we controlling these things when we already have global stuff? The satellites are global, everything's global. Why can't I visit like a Russian website or something, blah blah blah, and then you're just getting geographically IP blocked? There is something there's something wrong with this planet, everybody. I feel like there's really something wrong with this. It just doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense. None of it's adding. There's no big picture. That's one problem already. And one of those big pictures is private ownership. Every year, our ownership of anything is dwindling day by day. And with Sony removing physical copies and retailers like GameStop are just going to sell digital codes, like, I mean, No one's gonna even bother going to GameStop as well, and all that stuff is gonna be gone. It's just useless because it's all digital. And then the next section is about digital pricing and justifying the price of paying something for new. So everybody already failed since you all bought the GTA Adult Ultimate Edition for $100. So now Rockstar knows, oh man, these guys are actually suckers. They don't care. They will buy the game because it's not because of $100 though. It's because everybody likes Grand Theft Auto, right? And then imagine all the refunds. Everybody should just refund it right now. Just refund it. Call your bank right now and refund the Grand Theft Auto. Oh my god, I forgot to start the treadmill, guys. I failed. I'm gonna have to actually go along. Oh my god, I knew I was forgetting something. Don't worry, I'm gonna go 3 miles an hour. Oh my god, it's 30 minutes in and I didn't even start walking. Don't worry, I'm gonna do this will be an hour-long video because I have a lot of stuff to say about this. So like if I'm gonna be paying $70 for something and I don't own it, why is it $70 to begin with? If I have to like download it and then it can get taken away. Mind you, right? The Ultimate Edition for the Grand Theft Auto 6 is $100, but you don't actually own it. You just own it in an account that's owned by Sony, where they can just freaking delete your account or ban you for unknown reason. Like if you actually, I mean, no one has the time to read the terms of service. They can just take your account away and then boom, you have to buy the game again. Oh, see? Oh, somehow mysteriously there was an outage and your account got deleted. Sorry, there's nothing we can do. You have to buy the game again. Oh wow, so you're telling me I have to spend another $100 on a game that I already bought just because somehow magically my account got banned or deleted or suspended for doing something. So imagine that. Let's say you have your PSN account, right? And then you're playing GTA Online, and then maybe you're just so mad you get tilted and you just say something really bad and then you get banned. Now, all your whole game library is inaccessible. Probably. And now your PSN account is banned. Maybe they'll just ban it from the game, but from most companies like this, they just ban your entire account or terminate, suspend, and then how can you download your games now? How can you play the games now, right? So why should we be paying? We should not even be paying more than any amount of dollars above like the standard pricing for a monthly subscription. Like right now, monthly subscriptions are also going up, right? Let's say like the basic plan for Adobe software is, I don't know, like $20 now, like for just the basic shit, which is already really bad. Like everybody's paying subscription, but we already pay taxes, right? It's just gonna get worse just by the design of it. You know, like taxes go up, inflation goes up. Now all the businesses want to pay more subscription fees, service fee, all this fee. And then what else do we have, right? What else do they want us to pay? I mean, it's crazy. Like, I don't know what people are thinking about when they think about paying more into something that doesn't make sense. No one really benefits from that, and it really kills innovation. You know, the future depends on innovation, and if there's no innovation, there's no future. That's it's simple as that. I don't know. All the philosophers in life already knew that shit. Why don't these business people know that shit? Why don't these big corporate? Why don't the CEO know that shit? Who knows, guys? Who knows? It's not like they just bought their degree from Stanford or Harvard and just walked out of there. Like, oh boy, I can just buy a degree and be recognized as a leading leader in my industry. I really don't understand. No, I do understand. I just don't understand why they would feel that that's the correct choice to make in life when it's obviously the wrong choice. So paying $70 for something you don't own just to download it and then play it, or to somehow get magically rug pulled or like, you know, taken back, is dog shit. They're gonna do that. Every account should be evaluated at the MSRP price with adjusted inflation. And we will call that account value. So let's say I have an account value for my Steam, right? Let's just do Steam. It's easy because Steam, you can see it. I have like maybe 50 Steam games. Let's say my account value for all those games that were released at MSRP, let's say $1,000. And then all of a sudden they just take it away, right? I better get refunded $1,000 plus inflation and all that. Because you can't be selling a product and then further down the line, 5 years later, that game that you spent $30 is now $50. Do you even know what that's called? That's pretty much illegal. And I don't know what the hell the SEC or the FTC or whatever all these shitty ass government bodies are doing. You know, our taxpayer money literally funds these departments of the government that literally do nothing. Like, have you tried using any of the departments of the government? None of them do shit. Except put people down. And that's fine if you want to be a bully. Shit, man. Two can play that game, sadly. Everybody should be doing that. Like, we should be putting these people into a perspective, and they should be talking to the public about it. Like, what kind of leader leads a public without even talking to the people they lead? What is that? Are we like, are we even evolving? Shit, I don't know about you guys, but that just sounds so stupid. Like, come on, guys. No, none of your governors have ever talked. Maybe they had a rally and stuff, and they will say the nice things, but deep down in their heart, hardly any of them deliver. I mean, some of them are promising. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's true for everybody, but it feels like that way most of the time. So with Sony, it's like they didn't even ask. Like, people still prefer physical copies, and maybe they will have physical copies again, and you can pay the full price for it. But man, if they're gonna do it that way, I don't think Sony should be selling games, or I guess it's not Sony's fault. Those game companies shouldn't be selling the games for full price like that if it's going to be digital. Because let's see, when Netflix first started, right, and you were paying a subscription to watch their video or a movie or show, it was $5 a month, but you didn't own shit, which is okay. You just stream that video, you watch it, and as long as you had an active subscription, you can also download the video and then play it. Similar with Sony and the PlayStation work. If I'm just gonna download the game digitally and it's just linked to my PSN account, I mean, this is also the same thing I have problem with Steam. That's why I only buy games on sale most of the time, unless I really like it, which sucks, but I'm gonna have to start doing that now. Like, I'm not going to buy games for full price anymore. Then they should just move to a subscription-based model, just like the Xbox Pass. And I know they do have the PlayStation experience, but you have access to dog shit games that no one even cares about anymore. And some of those games are really bad or old, which is fine, but like, that's just creating fake value, you know? I'm talking about games that release on day one, you have access to it already. So instead of, oh man, it's just bad business, honestly. Like, the game industry is kind of cooked on this part, and Sony is really gonna cook everybody. Like all the logistics will get cooked, manufacturing's cooked, because now they have to do partnerships with these gaming studios like Rockstar and I don't know, Ubisoft and EA. It's just cooked in general, guys. But everything's cooked if you really think about it, which I'm not going to go into. So if they switch to a subscription-based service where you can just download every game and not pay for the game, since there's no more physical copy, and it's going to take a while to phase out, right? So 2028. Then, yeah, maybe Sony is going to do just that. I'm pretty sure, because if we're doing that, it would just not be a smart move to eliminate physical disc. Because, like, really supporting the disc is really cheap. Like I said, it only costs probably $5 to mass manufacture those games, and they still make a profit out of it. Like, I don't know how much of a profit, but I guess they just need more money. So they can, I don't know what these people want to do with all this money. Thank God I'm poor. All I worry about is just sleeping somewhere and eating food and playing these kind of games for free. I don't know what goes on I mean, I do know what goes on, but I just feel like it shouldn't be a defining factor of how people live. And with ownership and all that, it's just literally disappearing right in front of your eyes. You're literally living in a time where ownership is gone, guys. Like, you don't really own what you think about. You don't really own what kind of, like, the career you want to go to. It's like all the freedom of ownership is gone. And Sony is accelerating that. Like, in hindsight, they probably don't think about it, that they're accelerating, that we're all gonna be like less aware, or there's just less freedom. And then the freedom to share the games with other people and stuff like that. It's just a downward spiral. So yeah, consumers are really hurt by this. Average people like myself are going to be hurt by this. And having a physical collection is going to be hurt. But maybe that will be good for those collectors. You know, maybe the price of actual having a physical copy of Final Fantasy VII with the 3 original discs for the PS1 will go up. Maybe. It probably will, honestly. So if you're really into collecting video games, you should just start buying those things right now. I mean, we do have emulators. There's a lot of open source emulators these days, and a lot of people use that, and it is digital, and you don't need to own anything. You just need to own like the system, the hardware, which is fine. So the next section is going to be, you know, I already like alluded to all that by just yapping about certain things and tangents from each section. So, I mean, what should Sony do next? Like I said, you know, put the PSN store, PSN network or whatever on a PC client that's cross-platform, and see how that goes. I mean, they already have stuff for like cross-play and remote play on your PlayStation device, so I don't think it would be that much of an issue. I think the real issue here, that why Sony hasn't fully transitioned into this digital era of like copying Adobe, is because maybe it's the hackers. I don't know. We have some really sophisticated open source white hat people that are actually pro consumers. So I don't know how that's going to happen. But Sony should offer definitely a stronger business model for digital ownership. And they need to make it very clear in their policies, and they need to tell people. I mean, I know they keep saying like Europe is really into consumer rights and stuff like that. So hopefully they will do something, which they will probably do something. And then if games are digital only, then standard edition should be cheaper and actually provide the full game experience. So if I was supposed to say it like this, like when Rockstar released GTA 6, right? And they had the Ultimate Edition. I would expect that game to add actual content. Adding cosmetic stuff and more customization is not content, guys. Let's be real here. If the content you're paying for isn't adding an extra 10 plus more hours to the game itself, it is not content and should not be an extra charge. Let's be real here. Let me just give you a simple example. Let's say you're a billionaire and you're gonna buy my mega yacht. I'm gonna sell this mega yacht to you for 500 mil. Oh, but guess what? It doesn't come with any of the amenities or the super special bowling alley unless you pay an extra $100 million. That makes sense. But now if you take away like, oh, you're only gonna be limited in speed and the capacity of the gallons for the oil is gonna be less. And it's just not gonna be a good experience and you're paying 500 mil. Obviously you're gonna be furious, right? That's pretty extreme. Let me take it down. Basically, you buy a bicycle. It has a handle. It has a seat. But it doesn't come with the necessary features like a tail light and a bell and stuff like that. That's an extra $30. Which is already happening, and I think that's very horrible. So what's going to come from this is there's definitely going to be some standardized process. I hope so. That would make sense, you know, for all these companies to abide by and follow, because not only does it protect the people and the citizens, it protects the environment, okay? And when we say that the environment, I'm talking about not just how we live. Because we all own the environment. We're all responsible of taking care of the place we live on, and that's called Earth. And if we don't take care of that, then there's no point in owning anything because everything's gonna be, it's just gonna be shit and gone, right? So yeah, they should really figure out a way to set a better standard on that and ownership, and explore different avenues of releasing their games. Because like I said, if Sony goes digital only, most of the people that are less than middle class are the ones that are actually going to get hurt and not be able to play video games and such like that if they have like, because they may have slow internet and internet infrastructure is not really that good outside of third world countries, and it's just a huge blow to people, especially rental services, especially to logistics services, especially to all those companies that manufacture those goods for those physical copies. I mean, that's just, I guess that's how we are transitioning our lives into a digital ecosystem. But even the experience, rather, you know, like Sony really did used to sell the experience, you know. Experience the thrill of gaming by waiting outside of a GameStop for 5 hours to pick up your Ultimate Edition of Halo Reach or some bullshit. Sure, some of you may not think that was a fun time or a good time, but it's one of those times where you like really appreciate not the struggle, just the memory itself, I guess, because it was so nostalgic. And now that it's digital, you don't experience any of that. Like you won't know this the sacrifice, I guess, the sacrifice of waiting outside in line for 2 hours. Like it's really that simple. They're all losing that experience. And then they expect me to pay full price for a game that I don't even own and that can get taken away easily. So all in all, the solution. This is like the my closing point right now. I'm gonna start wrapping it up with my closing. So I only, damn, I didn't really walk that much. I'm sorry, I forgot to turn on the treadmill. Holy, can't believe it. So the first part is hardware companies need to work together to maximize the efficiency of the hardware so that storage space is saved and less used for video games. And I know that Nvidia is on the right track on that, probably AMD as well, and other companies. But I was thinking about using, I think they already have, I mean, DLSS is really good. You know, it uses a neural network model to upscale graphics. So developers that are in the AAA industry can just make their game at a lower resolution. Let's say the assets are not big and not small. Like they can do this with sound too. I mean, everything's pretty much optimized already. Like reducing the game size to less than 50 gigabytes is challenging. But when you shrink your assets down and then use real time, I don't want to say AI models, but AI models to upscale by having a specific central processor for doing that, then we can come back to physical copies again because that shit cheap. So now you can sell them on maybe micro SD cards or something. So let's say we do that, right? Somehow NVIDIA manages to really sell the RTX Spark and it's integrated with those kind of capabilities of real-time upscaling. And it still gives really good FPS, right? Because they have that multi-frame generation and all that. Like that stuff, it really works. It really works. Not sure about latency. I mean, like real-time latency. If you're playing a multiplayer game, for a single-player game, it works. So let's think about that for a second. Then games might actually shrink in size, and then when you play the game, everything is just upscaled. So now they're gonna be like, "Oh, what's not true? It's not native. It's not native, guys. It's literally just a math." And then they can add like post filters, post processing effects too. Like it will look the same, but it's more efficient, saves a lot of storage, and that's one thing too. See, storage space. Oh man, I can't even find a 2 terabyte M.2 SSD that's not higher than $200 anymore. That is very sad. I'm sad. You're sad. We're all sad. So imagine if they implement this kind of software. Now your 1 terabyte PS6 goes a long way because of this new technology and different way of processing real-time graphics. That 1 terabyte, you can download 100 AAA games. Let me tell you, man, once the PS6 comes out and there is no solution for this kind of bullshit, you're gonna at most only have like 6 games on your PlayStation 6. I mean, it's gonna get much worse. I mean, this would have to be truly said too, as well for like PC gaming, just everything, just gaming in general, right? So, like, what Sony's doing right now is actually, it's just accelerating the problem, making the issue of the matter really present, and hopefully all these will get addressed, right? The right to ownership of video games, dealing with storage management, and asset creation. That's a lot of things to think about. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, I need to check something real quick. Okay, I ordered food, and today's the World Cup, so happy World Cup and July 4th. Ah, I forgot to say happy July 4th in the beginning of the video. It's crazy. So hopefully Sony and the other companies are gonna come together and come together with the governments and the laws to really put down a pro-consumer statement to address um, digital ownership in general. Because pretty much as it stands now, anything digital, you truly don't own. You really don't own anything. But the thing is that when you download something, and you don't own it and you have to use the internet to authenticate that you own it, does that really count, guys, as digital, as ownership? Because if I go offline, let's say I don't have internet, I can't even use my computer anymore. I can't use anything. I don't know if Windows Microsoft 11, they also check if your computer has internet, and I don't know if it's just gonna put it on guest mode or something. Like, we really don't own anything. It's from digital perspective. That's why a lot of people are going through open source, using Linux, using as much things as they can where they actually have some sort of ownership, control, and power over that. Because if it's going to be like this, then I might as well just be paying a subscription fee for everything that I'm going to be using, which is very sad to say. If corporations are going to do it that way, right? There's only two options, right? You either appeal to the consumers or you appeal to the shareholders, I guess, which is just honestly, I don't really, like I said, guys, I'm really not interested in business aspect. It's just so toxic. Like, if you want to be a business person or successful and rich, you just really have to have all the negative qualities of a human being. Like, you don't think for others, you think what's best for the company and making more money. Maybe it was fun in the beginning, but after 300 years of the same thing, or 500 years, 1,000 years, the real question doesn't isn't how much money or how much profit we can make. The real question is how much can we take? They're taking everything away from us. And we're back at square one again. So yeah, that is my opinion about Sony's decision to go into physical copies, but it also elaborately, unintentionally, or not unintentionally, well, yeah, unintentionally going to open a bag of worms that's going to strike the industry in all different directions. And many people will be affected, and especially in the tech companies. So really, that whole business idea is just going to go kind of downhill from what I can feel. That's what I feel like it's going to happen. But I'm going to really miss the physical copy experience, buying a video game that comes with an art book, comes with a nice little manual, has a nice case, that smell of a freshly opened cartridge, I guess, the weight and visual display of having the game case and the artwork. That part's nice. It's really nice. I would kind of forgive Rockstar if that $100 purchase came with an art book or something, like a physical art book. But see, even that's affected. So a lot of companies that, like these studios that relied on maybe like courier services, logistics, and manufacturing for the disc, like those small electronic shops and fabrication shops, it's bad for them because they're gonna lose business. So a lot of businesses will be affected with this change. And I mean, it's just Sony, but you can probably feel it everywhere. Like with movies, shows, and music, everything's on Spotify. So everything is starting to condense and combust. And hopefully we will all come out better than we came in. Hopefully. Maybe there is going to be a good positive thing about this. Maybe they're going to start working on the internet infrastructure. Maybe things will start to get affordable again. Maybe people are finally going to realize that there's more to life than just making a lot of money. There's really more to life than just this, guys. And Sony is really opening up all that kind of awareness and critical thinking that everybody has, because now ownership and privacy is impacted. Because who knows? Maybe they'll study what kind of games you buy and digitally download. Like, oh, this guy, all these people, they really love this kind of game. Then Sony can sell that data to other companies. Your game should have this kind of aspect and focus on this. And that's a very valuable data statistics, big data, boom, boom, boom. Like, oh, if you make this kind of game, you're instantly going to become a millionaire. Imagine that. Ads are going to be more targeted based on the kind of games you download. This guy, he really loves monkey games. So we're going to make more monkey games and stuff like that. So yeah, not only is your ownership going to be taken away, your attention and your preference data is also going to get taken away, everybody. Because they will definitely see what games are being downloaded the most, what games are being played the most online. And I would forgive them if they made the PlayStation experience an actual experience instead of a chore or like some sort of a business thing. Because like the whole PlayStation has no limits. Really don't feel that way. So I think that's how I want to wrap it up. The PlayStation 2 era was really the best time of gaming, in my opinion, because you could rent games, you could own games, you could trade games. It was a great time. But now, with everything going digital, which I don't have a problem, okay? I'm not against digital games, all right? I don't know if I said that in the beginning. I'm not against digital things. I'm just against how we are implementing and handling it, and that everything about it is anti-consumer. I'm on your side. And of course, I know the business people, they want to make that money. They want to impress that whatever they want to impress with their money. But man, is it really worth it, guys? Is it really worth putting the poor people down into the dirt even more so you can afford a yacht that's not needed in life? Because we're entering that stage of life where people really have to be thinking about what's needed and what's not needed. And yeah, a lot of things are not needed. They call this I forgot what it's called. It's a 6S term. If you work in manufacturing, I forgot what it was called. I should know this one. Shit, I work. Lean. It's just called being cut and lean. You know what I'm saying? So now, my question for you: when we buy these games, what do we actually buy? Are we just actually just renting the game? Do you think we should just have subscription base like Xbox Pass or Sony? Just do that and make it so that you can download every game and just give a cut to developers that participate in the Sony network, whatever. Or sure, Sony and these companies still offer physical copies, but at a higher price than their digital counterpart. Like, let me say it this way: it would have been better if Rockstar sold the digital copy for $50, but sold the physical copy and everything else with it for $100. See, no one would have a problem with that. No one would have an issue with that. If they did it that way, it would have been fine. They're like, oh man, blah 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 blah. The only thing that Rockstar and this digital downloads only is just such bad timing. It really means that people are willing to pay more than $100 for a video game that's probably not going to work on day one. And it opens a can of worms that people really don't care about owning shit anymore. But in reality, we do care, okay? We like to own our stuff. Hopefully, there's going to be better laws, like I said. And everything is going to be good. Well, I don't know. I don't know. It really depends. It really depends. The industry will adapt, and businesses will adapt. A lot of people will definitely lose their job. I mean, a lot of people lost their job this year. Expect to lose more jobs next year because of all those logistics. I don't want to say it's because of AI or anything. I just want to say it's just the way things mature, right? Like you can't be selling apples all the time. I mean, apples are good. I like apples. Yeah, you can just keep selling apples all the time. Honestly, that's what Apple does. They literally sell you the same phone every year, and people still buy it. So I don't know if that's an educational thing or just an IQ thing or a critical thinking thing. Who knows? All I want to say is that, man, the PS2 era was the golden era of gaming, in my opinion. And I hope Sony will think about. They probably did think about this. You know, of course, these people probably spent a good amount of time thinking, but if this is the decision that they ultimately came to, I feel like I did it better by sharing my opinion. I mean, a lot of people have really good opinions. Don't get me wrong, a lot of people are very intelligent and have better critical thinking skills and really know what they're talking about. But this is my opinion, and well, I did seem kind of negative. I just really worried about the ownership and consumer rights, pro consumer stuff. All right. So, anyways, that's it for this Walk Talk and Rock episode of Sony getting rid of physical media and ultimately being the catalyst towards a shift of industry we've never seen before. Like I'm telling you, a lot of this is anti-consumer, and it's definitely going to impact. It's going to impact our lives for sure. And I just don't. I don't really like it much. But I did want to mention that maybe this could be a one-time thing for Rockstar, because honestly, if GTA 6 doesn't do well, I think that's it for Rockstar in general. And I think if Rockstar falls, the whole AAA gaming industry is done for. Because EA Games isn't doing that good either. Ubisoft isn't doing that good. If Rockstar fails here, our only shining hope in the gaming industry that makes actual quality video games. I mean, there's a lot of indie studios, don't get me wrong, but on this kind of level, like on a global scale, in terms of money, yeah, it's not looking good for the gaming industry. Guess we're all gonna go back to playing tag outside and hide and seek at your grandma's place. Because then people wouldn't want to invest money or time into a business practice that has proven to have failed. So, like, the really thing that business people should take away from this episode is that, yeah, they're right. Hype, what's that word? Hype and freshness really do make an impact on if your product or industry or whatever business you open will have money coming in. But like I said, if Sony switches to an actual full Netflix style model, and I hope Steam someday does this. I mean, I guess Steam is surviving somehow, but they don't have that many people in Steam. So yeah, if you work at Sony right now, you better start looking for a job. You're definitely gonna get laid off once all of this falls through, which has a high chance of doing so. It's pretty much over. And you have at least 2 years for that, right? 2028. You're gonna see the real changes in how we consume, how we own. And that's it. Crazy time. Crazy. After I beat this UQ, it's over. Alright, thank you for watching this episode of Walk, Talk, and Rock. I can't believe I didn't start the treadmill at the beginning. I'm so disappointed in myself. Anyways, have a good 4th of July and enjoy the World Cup. The 3 teams I'm rooting for in the World Cup are Argentina, Portugal, obviously USA. I guess that's it. Just Messi, Ronaldo, and USA. Because all my other teams got knocked out already. So yeah. I mean, it is what it is. It's just a sport and a global title. Hopefully you enjoy that. And I'll work on my trails of videos. I told you, like I said, I already beat Trails Beyond the Horizon, and I'll be playing the new Echoes of Aincrad that comes out next week. See you later.